Once upon a time, in a quiet little pond nestled between rolling hills and fields of clover, lived a curious duck named Dabble. He wasn't like the other ducks who spent their days lazily floating and preening their feathers. No, Dabble had a head full of dreams and a beak full of questions. More than anything, Dabble was fascinated by clouds. He would stare at them for hours, wondering what they felt like. Were they soft like moss? Did they taste like whipped cream? Could you lie on one and nap through the afternoon? One sunny morning, Dabble waddled out of the pond and heard strange giggles coming from the direction of Farmer Tilly's house. Drawn by the sound, he tiptoed through the garden and peeked around a corner. There, on the porch, Farmer Tilly's grandchildren were blowing soap bubbles from a big blue wand. Dabble's eyes widened. Floating lazily through the air were dozens, no, hundreds of tiny clouds. They shimmered in the sunlight, gleaming like raindrops and dancing on the wind. Dabble gasped. "The clouds have come down to play!" Without a second thought, he flapped his wings and launched himself into the air. He quacked joyfully as he chased a particularly plump bubble drifting near a rose bush. He snapped at it with his beak, and pop! It vanished. Dabble blinked. "That one was shy," he whispered. He chased another, pop, and another, pop. They disappeared one by one, and Dabble began to worry. "I must be too loud," he said. "Clouds must be very delicate." Determined to catch one before it fled, Dabble leapt after a group of bubbles floating toward the garden fence. He ducked under flower pots, slipped through the hedge, and even tumbled head first into a watering can. But no matter how careful he was, every bubble vanished before he could touch it. Soon, he stood in the middle of the yard, feathers ruffled, beak soapy, and utterly defeated. Just then, Farmer Tilly stepped out of the house, holding a basket of fruits. She paused when she saw the bubbles floating across the garden and the very wet, very confused duck in the middle of them. "Well, Dabble," she chuckled. "Been chasing soap bubbles again, have you?" She knelt beside him and scooped up a bit of sudsy water from the kid's bubble bucket. "These aren't clouds, silly duck," she said. "They're made of soap and water. They pop when you touch them." Dabble tilted his head, processing this new information. Not clouds, not sky fluff, just soap. He looked up at the sky, where real clouds drifted high and slow and silent. Untouchable, mysterious, and very much still up there. Still, as a final bubble floated past, Dabble gave it one last gentle nudge with his beak. Pop! He waddled back to the pond, thinking, clouds may not be within reach, and bubbles might not be what they seem, but for a few magical minutes, the sky had come down just for him. And that, Dabble decided, was worth chasing.